More and more are joining them. The players are rejoicing.
Welcome to the Old Glammy podcast, a podcast dedicated to all things Glamorgan cricket. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, give us a follow on Twitter at Old Glammy or Instagram, search Old Glammy podcast. So sit back and enjoy with us the ups and probably downs of Glamorgan County Cricket Club. Hello and welcome to the Old Glammy podcast with me, Andy Ward, and alongside me, as always, Ed Lockett. Obviously, we'll be reviewing the Hampshire results and the records that were broken there and some first times in that match. But for the first time on this podcast, we are actually recording this face to face in the same room at the same table. Ed is down in Cardiff and we're recording this on Thursday the 7th, so on the eve of the Somerset fixture, and Ed will be representing us at the match tomorrow. Yeah. So welcome, Ed.
Thanks very much. Yeah, looking forward to it. Tomorrow.
We've got a lot to get through, and this is probably the happiest I've ever been doing this podcast after the result against Hampshire. From my point of view, quite unexpected. But we'll get on to the nuts and bolts of the Hampshire results. As always, we'll look at the club news. There has been some. Starting with the Glamorgan Women, their unbeaten run continues. They played a Metrobank one-day cup match, League Two match against Derbyshire Falcons Women, and Glamorgan romped home. They posted 238 for 8 off 50 overs, and Derbyshire were all out for 132 off 41 overs. Lauren Parfitt keeping the high scoring going this season. She got 71. Bethan Ellis, she top scored with 75. Excellent performance at the top from those batters. And then in the bowling department, once again, we mentioned Gemma Porter previously. She took 4 for 19, and then Bethan Ellis took 3 for 30. Those were the standout performers. And once again, Glamorgan on a roll with their victory. So well done to Glamorgan Women. That 100% run continues. The seconds have also been in action. They had 2 T20 friendlies on last Monday, the 4th of May. They lost one and won one, and they were against the South Asian Cricket Academy. So they lost by 1 run at the first match, and the second they won, Glamorgan won by 3 wickets. Some of the squad did contain some first teamers. Eddie Byron was playing in this match with Dan Douthwaite. Jack Hope Bell also was playing. Callum Nichols. Alex Norton scored in the first match. He scored 110 off 50 balls, which would go in. Will Smale opened 34 off 33. And also Ben Morris, Roman Franco, and also, who we mentioned on the last podcast, Conor O'Riordan, who's still on trial with Glamorgan. He featured in that match. Yeah, so they won one and lost one, but fair play to Alex Norton. He looks like to be hitting some form, so I think he will be featuring for the first in our T20 campaign this year as well. And Dan Douthwaite, just to mention, got 58 off 39 balls in the second friendly. They have also announced today the T20 squad for a friendly that they'll be taking part in 2 T20 friendlies against Oxford University, and that's also starting on Friday the 8th. Once again, not much change from those that played against the South Asian Cricket Academy. But some mention that Ned Leonard will be playing his first game of the season, or games if he plays the 2. So that's really good to see Ned Leonard playing back on the park. And some other names, Will Smale, Norton, Henry Hill is there, Eddie Byram, and Dan Douthwaite as well. So yeah, they will be playing in the 2 friendlies. We'll see how they get on. And let's hope Ned Leonard's back in the wickets and can start to get some form and some fitness. Right, so that brings the club news up to date, and now we turn to the main event of today. The thing I've been most looking forward to reviewing. I think in the 4 years we've been doing this. Yeah. So actually, I think being ecstatic with the win, and the records that were broken. Actually, only now I've looked at the number of points we got from the game, and we got 23 in total. Hampshire got 1, and that probably tells the story. So yeah, let's turn to this then. The first talking point obviously was the squad, and we previewed this match. I think we previewed it early on the Monday, and then the squad was released obviously later on. Ben Calloway was obviously included and was down at number 4. Byron was gone. Clearly, clearly he's having a rest from the first, and he's now back in seconds. And Zayn Halassan was obviously included, and we knew then he would be probably opening to the try with Halassan. We know Zayn Halassan's scores up until this game wasn't, the averages weren't great. Ben Kelly came in and was down at 4, and I thought, well, surely can't, that's not going to happen, but he did. But we'll come to that point in a little bit when we look at the scorecards. Jamie McRae got his first start and came in for Andy Gorvin. Did manage to watch a fair bit of this on the stream and Jamie McRae he bowled really well. I don't think I've seen him bowl that well for Morgan. He was seaming it, and it was coming in and out. So just to mention that he's worked hard and he's been in the seconds getting wickets, and he's done really well, and he took his chance. And the first innings he didn't have the luck. But then the second innings, he got the first one, I think, of the day, and then the last day took the first wicket, and that set the standard. So that's the team. I think the other main talking point was the fact that we lost this toss. Hampshire put us in. When we put in, I was thinking, what is this going to happen? Hampshire at home, they know the conditions. It's an interesting call. So I don't know if you watched any of it.
I watched when Zayn Al-Hassan and Kieran Carlson before Zayn Al-Hassan got his 100. I watched when he was in his 90s, and I thought there'd be fireworks once he got his 100, but actually he played fairly sensibly. But so that turned out to be a really just mature knock, really sensible innings from both of them. Really,
they managed to catch some of it on Friday, and I thought, oh, it's beautiful weather there. Not be any rain on Friday, blue skies, and they put us into bat. And I was thinking, well,
from Hampshire's point of view, this just a disastrous. It's only 1 point, and to win the toss, your home ground, you needed the win because they haven't had a great start to the season, and then they must be really sick of this.
Liam Dawson, he got a stomach injury on the morning, so he couldn't play. So we had a bit of luck there. Obviously, they didn't have the luck. We didn't have the luck because we lost the toss, but we got lucky that actually it was decent batting conditions. And also, then Jake Lehman, he missed the game for some reasons. Yeah. So 2 first teamers were out. So we did get lucky in that sense as well, but it normally works against us sometimes. Also, the luck we had was Zayn Al-Hassan he was like 23 or 24, and he got caught and bowled off Al-Abid. There was a no ball, and the umpire had signalled early. So it wasn't like they showed it on the replay, and it was literally immediately. It was even before Zayn Al-Hassan hit it. Let's turn to that first innings then. If they start, they set 79 for the first wicket. Even if the wicket had fallen after that, I think we would be like, okay, that was the highest score the openers had made this season. And this first time we hadn't lost a wicket in the first hour of our first innings this season. So straight away I was like, it's okay, positive. I think in the preview we said that we weren't sure about dropping Byram and giving him the chance to this block of 6, but clearly Richard Dawson, who I'll say now, I've listened to all his post-match interviews, and I'm seriously impressed what a coach we've got. So clearly that he's not afraid, and Mark Wallace, the director, and Kieran Carlson as the captain, to make decisions. To make 3 in one go, for me, was a bit like, wasn't sure we'd do that, but we did, and clearly it worked. 79 for 1 off for the first wicket. That's a try. He must have been kicking his eyes.
Yeah.
I didn't see how he gave.
Nor did I. But I mean, just the 45, and he was probably feeling very good. But then, in a perverse way, it's almost quite nice to see your colleagues struggle in a way. But actually, when they, for so long, as Carlson and Al-Hassan did, it just makes you feel worse, and like you just missed out on 100. there, you'd be feeling annoyed.
I'm sure it'll come. But I think a couple of other of our followers on the social media said I think he gave his wicket away when he played at something he shouldn't have. At 45 he scored, and then obviously the record-breaking partnership with Zayn Al-Hassan and Kieran Carlson. It was the way Zayn Al-Hassan batted, like it's almost like he arrived, and like it's the best I've seen him. It was the highest partnership ever versus Hampshire that Zayn and Kieran's eventually run out. Zayn Al-Hassan was run out 143. I think that must have happened on the second day. So you would have slept overnight. I was exhausted and going to bed because I was just like happy for him. And I thought, bloody, he's got to get up and then carry on because the game hadn't been obviously. I think at that point I was thinking we just bat once in this game. If we're gonna win this, we just bat once, and then we need to. Bowlers are either going to take the 20 wickets, or it's going to be a draw. So yeah, Zayn Hassan, 143, played really well. Maturians, I didn't realise he's like 24, 25.
This is first 100. Yeah, first 100, yeah.
And I didn't realise Carlson's older than him. He's still a youngish early on in his career, so that's off to him. And then the issue of Ben Callaway, didn't see those 6 balls that he faced, and clearly he didn't bowl a ball in this match. So that just led me to think that he was only going to be included for batting reasons, and an experiment that didn't matter in the end because obviously we got on the board anyway. My view is I don't think he's number 4 batter. I'm surprised he went in and then he didn't. I know he did field for some of the games, so he is fit to be able to he got over that hip injury, but were you surprised to see him?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I was. But we were talking about the issues that Glammy have been having with their batting order. But where do we go now? I guess do we stick with Carlson at 3 and then we've got to stick with someone at 4? Because I think, see, Dixon gets some runs, but I think it's almost like with Dixon, the higher up the order he goes, the less likely he is to score runs. So yeah, I think we may have found a home for Dixon. You don't want to move him up. And yeah, Ingram is probably liking number 5. 7, that's his spot. Yeah, it will be very interesting tomorrow. Glammy bat.
I guess as a Wolves fan long in the tooth supporter all of my life, even I not found the negative, but found the question of yes, but we wanted Tyson to go to sleep for so long, and he's got 209, so tick. Now that leaves a hole at 4, and I was like, whether or not Ingram's got something in his contract to say he doesn't want to go to 4, I don't know. And we had this headache with Marnus Lamshane. He was going at 4. He would have gone in at 4, and then we got Ingram out. But there's no Marnus. Ideally, I'd like Ingram go 4. I would then potentially bring in Billy Root at 5, and then Dixon, and then Root, or whatever. Callaway's got to stay in the team. So part of me would think you just bump everyone up, and then you put Callaway in at 6, then Cook 7. But we know, hopefully Dixon has now found his feet in the team and the squad environment, and he got 54 in this match, not out, so hopefully he can get that next batting position. It's all we'll find out tomorrow, and when we are in the Somerset game where we go. Dixon 54, really happy for him. Despite with my favourite player Cook only getting 13, would like to see him get runs, but that was just from a personal point of view. And then over to the bowlers then, in terms of Hampshire's first, 214, what a performance. Tim Van Hooden, 4 for 53. Zayn then took 2 for 37 or 13 overs, so fair play to him for batting all that length of time and then taking 2 wickets. And then Mason Crane then 3 for 31 off 15. Obviously, we enforced to follow on. And then they made 253 all out. Tim Van going in the wickets again, 3 for 65. McIlroy took 2 for 39, and I say, be both nice, fair play to him. Ryan Haddy took 2 for 36 on it was hard for Ryan Haddy because it was seaming for Tim and Mac, but Ryan's just up and down bowler, so he worked hard. And then Mason Creighton then 3 for 48. And lo and behold, we're in Division 1. He's taken wickets, and there's talk on the socials about him being the leading wicket taker and the obvious connection that comes with that. And I don't think for 1 minute there'll be a call up for him this year for England because I just don't see it. And I'm good because we need to keep him.
So who are you talking about?
Mason Crane.
Mason Crane.
So yeah, fantastic bowling. We had a 0-1 Jamie Macra taking that wicket. So absolutely delighted. It was our first win at the Utility Bowl, second biggest victory over Hampshire, highest ever total against Hampshire. First time we won in Division 1 since, I probably might get this stat wrong, but 2005, I think. But yeah, absolutely elated with that. Was there any more thoughts, Ed, on your player of the match? Which this is going to be hard.
Yeah, obviously, right. You can't really have to be on Carlson and Alassane, but I've got to pay credit to the bowlers to bowl twice. That's a hell of an effort. Even though you've got that boost of being on top, it's still a mammoth effort to keep on going and to win so convincingly. So, but I am going to divert away from them, and I'm going to go with my heart this one. So yeah, you think I'd go for Carlson, his first class biggest score, first double hundred, which is brilliant. But yeah, because it's his first, it's maiden first class century. I'm going to go man of the match, Zayn Al-Hassan.
I agree.
341 balls. He batted.
I'm not how long he's been at the crease. I can't find that. Sorry, 421 minutes.
Right. Okay. Real effort. You could say I didn't watch the whole game, but you might say, "Oh, Carlson guided him through."
Hmm.
There's also a point to be made. You could say that Zayn Al-Hassan probably took a lot of the strike, and that sort of took the pressure off Carlson. And Carlson, yeah, very good at picking up singles. So he was good. Carlson was very good at keeping the score ticking over. But yeah, Zayn playing dot balls is an art, and actually does have long-term effects in a game that you don't necessarily benefit from facing all those balls. The team can, and in this case, it was Carlson.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I've always a bit of a stickler for the old-fashioned way of doing things, especially when it comes to 4-day cricket. Carlson doesn't play that way, but he's looks like the coaching staff just told Zayn just to go there, occupy the crease, and just take the bad ball and let Asa Tribe and Carlson do the heavy scoring. And I think it works. It weighs their bowlers down, second change, third change, and it works. There's a guy called Nick Selman, played for Glammy, and he did that a lot, and then lost his form, and then he left. So Zayn Hassan, I was like watching him going, this feels what we need when we've got explosive players like Carson and Ingram, and then Dixon as well. Get someone who can just stay there, get that scoreboard ticking over. Yeah, I like it. I just checked the stat, and it was our first victory since 2005, and it's the first time that we enforced the follow-on in a Division 1 match since 2001. On to Somerset now. It's the first time that they arrive in Spy Gardens for 19 years in a red ball match. And yeah, so Ed will give us an overview of Somerset, a team close to his heart.
I've been following Somerset all my life. Yeah, it's in my blood. Somerset, my dad's a fan, so it's been passed on to us. But yeah, fancy has never won the championship, but I feel like they've been building something ever since maybe when Marcus Trescothick came back and retired from international duty. They've been building up a bit of a harmony, building up a good squad depth, and had a few close calls, but never getting quite being there. So yeah, I'll go on to their latest game. It's been a kick in the teeth because I got a bit carried away maybe earlier this season thinking this might be it. But yeah, lots of Somerset fans have always had that thought, this might be it. But we've never got there. But yeah, their current setup is that they've got Andy Hurry, who's their director of cricket. He never actually played, but not sure what his background is. Their first team coach is Jason Kerr, so he was a player for them, mainly a bowler. And yeah, so their current captain is Lewis Gregory, who's from Plymouth. And yeah, they've just got a bunch of players there that nice experience, nice mix, quality and different styles. But we've had a decent start to the season. But against Yorkshire, our game we should have won. Really, we were ahead. We bowled Yorkshire all out of 162, and then got a lead of we were 274 all out, so a lead of over 100. But ended up losing the game. And you should blame it all on Joe Root for getting some runs. But Yorkshire's tail in their second innings, it wagged. And yeah, we were left with about 260 odd to chase. And we were all out for 184. Yeah, so with Joe Root getting 4 wickets. So yeah, that was a big kick in the teeth for Somerset. But I guess key players to look out for. Tom Abel is a very well-respected captain. I think he fitted into the mould of he's batting number 5, and I don't know if you remember James Hildreth. He's now retired, so he was one of those sorts of players that was always a very good performer for Somerset, but never really got a chance with England. Tom Abel is similar, so he was the captain for a good few years, but is now with Lewis Gregory. Archie Vaughan and Doc Thomas open the batting against Yorkshire. That's likely to be the same. There's obviously a lot of talk about James Rue, who bats number 4. Yeah, so he keeps for Somerset as well, but talk about him maybe batting for England with Jamie Smith keeping wicket, who doesn't keep for Surrey. But yeah, James Rue is the talk of the town almost about possibly being the next England call-up. He'll bat at 4. Bowling wise, they've got Alfie Oldbourne, youngster from Yeovil, who bowls left arm. Craig Overton, who has played for England, and Miguel Torres, who's South African player. So yeah, we biased to say this is a tough game for Glammy, but yeah, I think it's going to be a really close contest. I was very confident with Somerset playing Yorkshire. Yorkshire had a great start, thinking that we would win the game, but ended up losing. And probably, if I'm honest, I possibly thought that Glamorgan would struggle at Hampshire.
Looking at the table as it stands, all teams now have played 4 games, and Somerset are third, 58 points. We are 5th with 50 points. So yeah, it's early in the season, obviously quite close. Yeah, it's not much. I think there's going to be breaks in play with the weather forecast not 100% fine. So they are going to be. I think we're going to lose time in this game. So the toss is going to be important. We're coming into this with confidence, and Somerset will want to bounce back after that defeat against Yorkshire. Well, yeah, the Morgan Cardiff pitch is usually quite a slow one, so it'll be interesting with Mason Crane in form. He's a class player, and we stand a chance, but you've got some really quality batters there. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I think every game we go into in this division, I'm going to be nervous. Can't help that because all those years supporting Glammy, but nervous, but also there is excitement there because it looks like building on last year. It looks like we can win games.
Yeah, I think the Grammy's shoulders now should be so much more relaxed. Yeah. Like I said on the last pod, Hampshire, an established first division side, and so to win away like that, actually we belong, and I think and it's just maybe there was a sense I was maybe thinking that Lammy might just be scratching around for points, and then might just be looking to win home games. But now you think the mentality of the squad will have changed, no doubt, about that Hampshire result.
Yeah, and Richard Dawson in the match interview was saying about winning sessions and playing good cricket. It all came together. We batted well, fielded well, took our catches and bowled well. So can we continue that? Hope so. But yeah, all came together. So before we finish, look at the squad that we've announced. There is one change. Jay McRoy, I think he failed a concussion test, which is really gutting for him because he did so well at Hampshire. So that means Andy Gorvin comes in. And also they call it for Tom Norton. Now, Tom Norton, we've mentioned when we've been looking at the second 11 results. He's in the wickets, so he deserves this call-up. Now, whether he gets the he plays any part in this. Don't know, but it's good that he's in and around the squad. So the squad, they've now stayed making Frayne, Kieran Carson, Billy Root, Ben Kelway, Annie Goldwyn, Tom Norton, Zayn Al-San, Ryan Hadley, Colin Ingham, Chris Cook, Asa Tribe, Sean Dixon, and Tim Van der Gerten. As you said, I think the top three should stay the same with Carlson at 3 after scoring that 209. Ben Kelway at 4, not sure. And then I think it'll probably be Gorvin in for McElroy. And then, 12 Tom Norton. And then as a substitute. And then, Billy Root then. I don't know where Ben Kelly goes. We'll wait and see. Not convinced he's at number 4, but he's not fit enough to bowl. They may just want him in. So we shall see. That game starts tomorrow, the 8th. If you listen to this, we are recording it on the night before. All that's left to say is thanks again, everyone, for following us, interacting with us. Please do carry on liking and subscribing on our YouTube channel. We look forward to reviewing what happens in Somerset. And leaves me to say, go Glammy and bye for now.
More and more are joining them. The players are rejoicing.